over to the. All right, I think we have everything set. Welcome everyone for joining us, Thank you for joining us, I should say, on a Sunday night. And we are excited to go through the fall town hall here at Myriad Health and Fitness. Thumbs up, we can see the presentation screen. Is that correct? All right, I always get paranoid about that because I just recently gave a presentation, found out they were staring at my desktop the entire time. So had no idea. So I'm glad we're good there. A couple things to set some expectations right now from of what we're going to go over today. So you're going to hear a lot from me. I have a lot to say tonight, so hopefully that's okay with you all. And then you're going to hear from the rest of the leadership team on different pieces as we work ourselves through. First thing we're going to go over, just talk a little bit about 2020, 2021, a little bit statement for myself to kind of share, be a little bit vulnerable of my own experiences and opinions of Myriad Health and Fitness, just to share some behind the scenes with you all as well. And then you're going to have us talk about diversity, equity, inclusion here at Myriad, and Anna and Holly are going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Myriad CrossFit and what that means as a whole. Then I'm going to dive in deep on updates of 3902 North Illinois, our Midtown space. And then we're going to recap and finish things up with some things down a pipeline, member appreciation week, 10-year party, and other resources and miscellaneous items from there with Kimberly. So kind of set some expectations or guidelines for this conversation. We will go through a section. So for example, I'll talk about 2020, 2021, and then we'll give time for questions. And as I had mentioned, I don't have my chat up right now. So I may have Anna, Kimberly, Holly, Peter just jump in and just say, hey, this person's asking a question. And then we'll be able to answer that then and there. So the goal for this is to go over a topic and then be able to have a one-on-one transparent conversation with you all, which we're really excited about. So type in questions. If you want to come off mute during that time and save a question to share with us, feel free to do so. So with that, any questions on that piece? Cool. So the first thing we want to do is celebrate and start off with some excitement. You all at the beginning of Q3, which I believe is October, September, July, right? Starts in July. You guys were all shown and took part in a values challenge. So every quarter, our staff goes through a values challenge to, I guess I could also share some of the slides too. Sorry. Whoops. There we go. Hey, cool. These slides. Awesome. Nice job, Kimberly. Peter, sorry, you want to introduce yourself? You could do that.
Hey, everybody. My name is Peter. I know 99.9% of you. I'll be jumping in a little bit on and off, but really Jared and the rest of the team are going to be leading it. But again, I will be monitoring the chat, so feel free to jump in there at any time. And Anna and I will answer any questions throughout.
Awesome. Sorry about that. I'm learning how to operate all this. So staff values challenge that we put on every single space, 922, 914, 916 had a whiteboard or some sort of cork board there that you were able to take a slip of paper, write down a value of a staff member, and then an experience that happened, and then put that up there. And I am very, very, very excited to report that we have 74 different responses from staff and clients and members who have shared awesome moments throughout the last 3 months about how our staff has exemplified the values of being professional, open and honest, people focused, solution oriented, and growth oriented. So we're super pumped about that. So much so that we wanted to take the time right now, and we're going to every single quarter we have 3 winners, and they actually get a monetary incentive onto their payroll at the end of each quarter. We're going to select one of the winners right now. We have an all staff meeting next Sunday that we're going to do the other 2 for. We felt like it was going to be really important for us to kind of share this with you all, because ultimately you were the ones that entered all these slips in there. So I'm going to throw this in a box, shake it up. We're going to make this live right now. It could be awkward. I see Anna already rolling her eyes at me, which is great, and I love it in a good way, fun way. And we're going to pull one winner right now, and one of our staff members is going to win $100 added to their paycheck. So 3, 2, 1, and Steven is being recognized as People Focused by Xi and Hannah Lee. I believe I might be saying that wrong. I apologize. XIE and Hannah Lee. And the response is, he is very patient with us. I believe, if I'm correct, is that longevity class? Yes, longevity class. Steven's been teaching that class quite a bit. Awesome stuff there. Exactly what we're looking for. So Steven's going to have $100 added to his payroll next time. So that's awesome. Was that fun? That was exciting for me, at least. All right, so moving on, we're going to talk about, and I want to really set some boundaries here. Yay, Steven, cool. I just got chat. I love it. Working ourselves through. So today, when we go through the rest of this conversation, I wanted to set some boundaries in a sense of who we're speaking to. And we're speaking to a lot of different audiences today. So this has been relatively challenging to put together an agenda to make sure we're not tearing anyone down or negatively speaking about staff or anything of that nature. We just openly want to have a conversation with our community, because at the end of the day, our staff, our members, the community at large are the stakeholders of Myriad Health and Fitness. And in order for us to grow into the future, we have to make sure we communicate transparently with everyone. So the different audiences we're speaking to tonight are those who are pre-lockdown COVID members. So those are the individuals who were with us before COVID ever happened. And often we hear we used to do it like this. So that's an audience we're speaking to. Another audience we're speaking to tonight is the post-lockdown COVID members. And those are the individuals who don't know any different. Those are the individuals who joined us in the middle of COVID, joined us when our squares were in full action. And they haven't seen us meet at the whiteboard. They haven't seen us running back and forth for our warm-ups. So there's a lot of different people in our community now, and it's amazing to see this integration take place. But it's also important for us to call this out so everyone's aware of the different audiences we have within our membership. Not the last group, but there's also another audience, and that's our program-specific audiences. So those program-specific audiences include people who specifically go to boot camp, people who only go to yoga, people who go to CrossFit yoga and boot camp and use all the services. So it's today in this specific town hall, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the CrossFit program of Myriad Health and Fitness, but that doesn't mean that yoga, our kids, nutrition, longevity programs aren't as important or equally important to the overall vision and health and DNA of Myriad Health and Fitness. So I just wanted to set that boundary first before we go into some of the conversations we're gonna talk about. Circle Kombucha, not a sponsor, but want to throw that out there. So first things first, wanted to recognize how quickly things have happened in life. And what I mean by that is recognize a little bit of 2020. I know earlier this year and last year, we talked about 2020, but I do want to make it known, it wasn't until March of 2020, and this is, right when the pandemic happened. And for old school members, people have been with us, that audience that were pre-COVID, Kendra was still with us at that time. And that was only 15, 16 months ago. And that's how quickly time has flown by. And then with that, at that time in March, before we even knew COVID was happening, lockdowns were going to happen, Coach Kendra at that time put in her 2 weeks, and then we slowly transitioned out from her being in her role that she was in. And I'm sharing that because it seems like 7 years ago that Coach Kendra was a part of the core at Naptown Fitness at that time. And then since that time, and this is, in the realm of vulnerability, we've had 6, 7 key staff members leave Myriad Health and Fitness at that time, Naptown Fitness. And if you would have told me that those 6 or 7 people would leave and this business would still exist, I wouldn't believe you. And that's something that's been very, very challenging behind the scenes. We become comfortable with change and we're okay with change, but it hasn't been easy. And it's been very, very challenging from a leadership level to see that take place. But with that, we've seen a lot of great individuals step up. We've developed a new leadership team and the foundation is super strong. So recognizing 2020 of losing key staff members, working in virtual classes, which is a completely different business model, going through an entire pandemic, and then the social injustices that kind of came throughout the entire world, not just within the CrossFit realm, not just within Indianapolis, but worldwide. It's just a lot that we had to deal with. So when we came into 2021, we knew right away in January of 2021 that it was going to be hard. It was going to be a hard year for us. 2020 was a really hard year, but 2021 was going to be even more challenging. We had staffing shortages, just like many small businesses have had. Our bandwidth was at the all-time. Every single person was working all hours, over the place, all sorts of programs that they weren't necessarily brought on to be teaching. So it was very, very challenging. I would even, admit that some of our programs deteriorated a little bit during COVID. And it was certainly no one's fault, just due to bandwidth issues and other variables that have happened. And that's something we're going to kind of work into later on in this conversation. Then throughout that time, Peter, smiling right over there, decided to throw a curveball out there. And I'll never forget the moment. I don't want to go into intimacy of he and I sitting in a hot tub in Crested Butte when he first told me that they were going to be moving. But that's where it did happen, was in a hot tub. And then at that time, it became April 2021 when Peter and Shannon announced that they were moving to Alabama. And, this was hard. This is hard. It continues to be hard, if I were being perfectly honest. But we also wanted to share with you all that Peter and I are still 50-50 partners with Myriad. Will that change someday? Who knows? I can't tell you what's going to happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. But right now we're completely solely focused on the same goal at Myriad, and that's to create a safe environment for members to be the best versions of themselves. And at the end of the day, one of our vision at Myriad Health and Fitness is to make Indianapolis a top 10 healthy, fit city. And we know we can't do that alone as an organization, and we'll need other people out there to help us. Then within that realm of 2021, so we're talking January towards June-ish, June, July, August even, we found ourselves in a transitional period. And that transitional period really started off with some identity issues. And those identity issues stem from us having a rebrand. And that rebrand is something we're super excited about. We are beyond excited about. Kimberly executed at such a high level. We're still so excited about. However, as an organization that's evolving and learning, we realized that we had some missed opportunities. We've had people reach out to us asking us if ownership has changed, if we've sold to someone else, if if it's still the same people, same coaches, why did we actually do this? And ultimately, the big decision for us was to freshen up the brand, to create a brand system that's all inclusive and makes sense for everybody. So at the end of the day, one of the asks that we have and we want to share, and I personally want to share, is tell people you practice India yoga is Myriad yoga, and Myriad yoga is practice India yoga, and Myriad bootcamp is Naptown Swift. Myriad CrossFit is CrossFit Naptown. It's the same exact thing, same exact people, same exact awesome coaches and teachers. And my ask and my ask to you all would be, share that on social media. Tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell your dog, whoever it is, tell them, and make sure. Thanks, Anna. I just saw you look over at Casey, or maybe it's Tibbs. I appreciate that for telling your dogs. But we really, really need you as a community to tell people who we are, and we are excited for that. In addition, during this transitional period, as I mentioned earlier, some of our programs, and admittedly, and this is a lot of my fault, Peter's fault from a leadership perspective, weren't necessarily operating at an A+ level. And this was not negatively knock on any teachers or any coaches. But at the time, we're going through growth. We're going through an evolution period. We're going through a transitional period. And we were able to recognize that. And it's super important now for us to kind of sit back and really think about, what is the one thing we do really well? Like, rewind, go back 10 years, go back 5 years. What are the what's the one thing we do well? It's connecting with people. It's fitness. It's yoga. Like, I know I just said 3 things. I'm saying one thing, but that's what we do really, really, really well, is fitness and yoga. And that's something that we realize that we really need to dive back into and pour back into our community as well. So you're going to see an evolution. You're going to see a new era. The magic that is this community comes from our coaches, comes from our leadership team, comes from our members. It comes from cheering each other on during classes, in a boot camp class, CrossFit class. It comes from knowing people's names. Who are you sitting next to on your yoga mat, looking over and introducing yourself and saying hello? Like, that's what this is all about. That's what Myriad Health and Fitness is all about. And we want you all to really just embrace that moving forward as best we can. I know times are a little bit different, still wearing masks here and there, still socially distanced, but it is about community, and we really want to lean into that as much as we can. And then here we are. I was going to say here we are in September, but here we are in October. And, we kind of called this out in early January when we knew 2021 was going to be a hard year. We called out August, September as the light at the end of the tunnel. We knew it was going to take months, 6 months plus, to train new coaches, train new teachers, place new people in managerial roles to really, really build this team and also refocus on our core products. Right now, I can say confidently that the light is starting to shine brightly. The foundation of Myriad is stronger than it's ever been. I've never been more proud and more confident in the people who surround me. I've never been so sure about our team who represent Myriad Health and Fitness. And I hope you all see that as well in the next coming months, years, moving forward. So with that, you're going to see a significant amount of energy put into development of our fitness coaches and into our yoga teachers. That's a guarantee. You're going to see Anna, which I'm really excited about, move into a more specific role in development of our programs, of our product. And at the end of the day, our product is our services. You're going to see improvements in our facilities. Shout out to, I'm at 916 right now, but shout out to TRX right below me. I don't know about you all, but I'm beyond pumped to have that upgrade of equipment here. You're going to see other equipment upgrades in months to come as well. You're going to see us lean more into the CrossFit community, which we'll get into more later. You're going to see us hire a yoga program coordinator, which we're in the midst of interviews right now. That's going to be so exciting to take Myriad Yoga to the next level, and what that's going to look like, we don't even know. And that's what's really, really exciting. There's so many opportunities there. You're going to see more community events take place following the success of Myriad Olympics. Hashtag gold medal, that took place in August. The upcoming 10th year anniversary is coming up here, October 16th. We'll dive into a little bit more as well. By the way, I got the gold medal at the Myriad Olympics. My team won. That's kind of why I was shouting that out. So last but not least, you're going to see Myriad Health and Fitness be who we can be. It's going to be a safe place for you. It's a place where you can be coached, a place where you can be taught, and a place ultimately where you can grow. And that's what we're most excited about. And that's why we're having this town hall tonight, is to talk about that and share that with you all. So thank you there. Right now, we are going to open up for questions. If you want to type in any questions based on any of that, and then we're going to jump into a little bit of diversity, equity, inclusion conversation with Holly and Anna. So I'll pause, stop talking, breathe. If you want to type anything in, feel free. If you want to come off mute and chat, you can do that as well. We'll give it an awkward 20 more seconds. By the way, I did spend 20 minutes for this setup behind me to have a better background. Just throwing it out. I know I'm not super successful. All right, well, we're going to jump in to diversity, equity, inclusion at Myriad, which is a super important topic. I'm so excited for Holly and Anna to chat with us here, and something that we can use our platform for to make generational change in years to come. Boom. Holly, Anna, introduce yourselves, take it over. I'm putting myself on mute for a little bit.
All right, so I am the Chief Operations Officer and Anna is the Chief Experience Officer. And so we are going to tell you a little bit about the DEI committee that we put together earlier this year, what that's looked like, and what some of our goals are moving forward. So earlier this year, we sent out a call to individuals who are interested, and we received a ton of great applications. And so the committee is comprised of a few different staff members as well as actual members. So on the committee in alphabetical order is Anna, Andrew Kramer, Jared, Meg Ridley, Whitney Newton, and myself. So to date, we have had 6 meetings. There is still room to join. So we did have an individual who unfortunately had to leave the committee. So if you're interested, definitely reach out to one of us. We'd be more than happy to chat a little bit more with you about that. But we have already been doing quite a bit with the meetings that we have had. So 6 meetings, 1 a month, we meet for an hour and then work on action items in between. So we have hosted a book club open to the entire community that we added a donation component to. We also hosted some community workouts in June that we had a donation component to. Last week, we actually had Dream Alive students come in, and it was from a local middle school. And so they came in and got to learn about the fitness field as a whole. We've participated in 2 different events at Tarkington Park, and then we're actually going to be hosting a free community workout this weekend there as well with Tease Me Cafe. So super excited about that. We have added in a donation component to the 10-year party, and even for some of our staff gifts, some members have chose to donate that back to MLK Center in lieu of taking a gift. So lots and lots of ways that we're able to give back in in-kind donations as well as monetary donations through the community too. So we are in conversations currently. Jared has been working with Patrick Jones from the Mind Trust about applying to participate in an equity cohort this next year. And we actually added this to our capital expenditure budget. We've been looking at ways we can include social media in inclusivity within our social media engagement, and even making sure that the current vendors we're working with do align with our values. We've been working on our physical spaces as well as some of our marketing spaces too. So we've added spaces, we've added flags and signage to our spaces, and then we've also added some DEI statements to our website. And then we are working on getting a code of conduct going for members after realizing some incidences that have made members uncomfortable. So that is in the works. You're going to see more coming about that, and Anna will share some more information on that too. Several meetings involving CrossFit. Jared's going to hop more into the details on that later. And then lots of meetings with just local officials, working with different local schools and ways that we can get involved and help there. So I'm going to turn it over to Anna, and she's going to talk a little bit more about the future of DEI.
Yeah, so Holly covered a lot of the things that we have been doing. One of the things we've learned in this process of meeting is there's kind of 2 options. You can do things quickly or you can do them really well. And we've tried to do our best to strike a good balance of things that are easy to do, doing them as quickly as we can, and then some of the bigger challenging things, taking our time and making sure that we're doing them really well, really respectfully. And that is largely our goal setting has happened in that manner. So one of our big kind of visions when we established the DEI committee was to be able to share with our community members our commitments, what our goals are in the DEI space. And that's a lot of what the committee has been working on, as well as everything Holly mentioned. So right now we have kind of I would say they're pretty like 85% of the way done, just need some final wordsmithing, as well as just securing what numbers make sense in some of these realms, but mostly focusing on internal DEI, like what are things that we can do within our spaces, within our teams, within our hiring processes, onboarding, all of those things, as well as external DEI. How can we be better in our community? How can we be better as a voice for the fitness industry in DEI that is not something that the fitness industry does typically very well. So some of the things that we will be including in part of that is, as Holly mentioned, a code of conduct. So that'll be something for both our members as well as our staff, and it's 2 levels and layers of the code of conduct, as well as putting out a DEI survey. So that's going to be a big part of our push next year, is to have a survey that we can then improve upon our practices. So we're hoping to have that done in the next month or 2 to be able to share with you guys our specifics for 2022. And as Holly said, we do have some space available. So if DEI is super interesting to you and you want to be a bigger part of it in the community, we would love to talk more about that. So I will transition it back to Jared and Peter to talk a bit more about CrossFit. And again, we will we'll answer questions about DEI if you have them after they talk a bit about CrossFit.
Got it. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Holly. So jumping into a big topic that is kind of blended amongst what they just went over, and I'll set the scene a little bit of the backstory, but CrossFit Naptown was our original business back in 2011. That's how this all started, when Peter and I opened up that gym on 609 North Delaware, and then eventually transitioned to Naptown Fitness, eventually into Myriad Health and Fitness. Now we are officially with CrossFit Home Office. They used to be called HQ, but now they're Home Office in the changes that they've made. We are Myriad CrossFit. And the backstory on that is June of 2020. Even before 2020, we've had our issues with CrossFit HQ, and there have been problems with communication as affiliate owners, Peter and I as actual owners of the business, versus the HQ platform. And then in 2020, June of 2020, I'll make this relatively quick because I think a lot of people know, the then CEO, founder of the company, made racist comments. And then additionally, there was a lot of things thrown out there from a toxic environment standpoint at the CrossFit headquarters. So they wanted to make, so he was eventually, after, I should say, thousands of affiliates de-affiliated. Oh, thanks, Peter. You can just tell me. She's telling me to flip the slide right now. Thanks, buddy. After thousands of affiliates de-affiliated, we were one of those who led the way. In fact, in Indianapolis, I believe we were the first affiliate to announce our de-affiliation. And then we saw a slew of gyms, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different gyms here locally also de-affiliate. What their status is at this point, I don't know. And then in late July, early August, a new company, a new gentleman named Eric Rosa, who was also owns a CrossFit gym in Boulder, Colorado, bought out the company. He bought it out with a private investment firm. He himself sold a tech firm for a couple $1 billion years prior in Boulder, Colorado. And so this was a huge change to the organization of CrossFit as a whole, because it's a completely different leadership team. So I share that as the backstory because that's why we de-affiliated, and we sent a message to CrossFit as a whole saying we can't be a part of this unless you make change. Over time, we decided we were going to put ourselves in a probationary status of keeping track on what CrossFit, the new leadership, was doing, what CrossFit Home Office, the new staff members were doing, and what that looked like. And it's been over a year and a month, year and 2 months, and we've seen a lot of change. I personally have been keeping an eye on a lot of town halls, been communicating with a lot of CrossFit Home Office staff members. And we announced a few weeks ago that we're officially stepping back into stepping back into CrossFit as one of our core programs, and using that terminology moving forward. And we're really excited to do so because of a lot of the changes that have taken place within CrossFit. And some of those, just to kind of rattle off a couple, they created a more diverse leadership team. They've created executive level roles. I read an article this morning that they recently hired 3 new C-suite executives, 2 of which are female. Anna, myself, and Holly personally met with Elaine Marino, who is the the global head of diversity and equity inclusion at CrossFit. And had a great conversation with her to learn more about what's happening. They're going to be making an announcement about some of the changes and some of the things that are taking place. They created a DEI council themselves. And Peter, or if one of you can drop some of these links into the chat just so people can click on some of these and see it, I think that'd be super helpful as well. Just so people can see, like, put names to faces and see who's actually on a DEI council. I think it's gonna be super important to see that. In that time as well, Peter and myself, have received more phone calls and more emails from CrossFit Home Office than we ever had in the last 10 years in the last 3 months. So they're really diving deep into supporting their affiliates, which ultimately, by supporting their CrossFit affiliates, they're supporting the members of the affiliates as well. They're supporting the community at large. And in my opinion, the more people who get involved, that's the more, I'll use a lack of better terms, buying power we have to make change, and to make change generationally, to make change for injustices of equity. And there's just so much we can do by having a voice within the CrossFit community versus not being a part of it and not having a voice and only making a small amount of change here in Indianapolis. I feel like our change can resonate regionally, maybe even nationally, maybe even internationally, with the things we can do, being a part and having a voice in that realm. Some of the things that we want to do, and I know it was briefly mentioned, we want to be able to take our DEI committee and make that scalable so that other CrossFit affiliates, other functional fitness gyms across the country, across the world, can see it to be relatively easy or plug and play to be able to replicate a DEI committee. And we think that's gonna be super important because the more gyms that can do that, more businesses that can do that, the more change we will see worldwide, and the quicker we'll see change. Scholarships for at-risk children, internships for lower economic youth. Holly mentioned our field trip last week with Dream Alive. That's something that brings passion to my heart. And I had so much fun being able to teach those kids. And I look forward to being able to do that, especially in our future space in Midtown at 3902. Some of the other things that you're going to see, some of the intangibles you'll see and tangibles you'll see with us diving back into CrossFit are more events within Myriad Health and Fitness, and more events specific to the CrossFit methodology. So we'll be participating in the Open in 2022 as we have in previous years, and really kind of diving and leaning into that much harder and having some fun with that again. And not necessarily to send a team to the regionals anymore. I don't even know. Not to send a team to the games necessarily. Maybe we'll send Anna to the games. Who knows? How old are you? Are you old enough for Masters yet?
Not even close.
Okay.
I'm 28.
All right. Well, she's got 7 more years until she joins Masters, but we have 7 years of preparation for her. There's virtual events that they'll have as well, and different pieces to that puzzle that we'll get support from for the first time ever as an affiliate within CrossFit. Another big thing, it's going to be a trial. Just want to say trial, so everyone's aware this is a trial. We're going to be jumping into CAP, and CAP is CrossFit Affiliate Programming. And what this is CrossFit's newest programming version, in which what you see on CrossFit.com, their workouts that you see are workouts we're going to be doing inside the gym. So this used to be called, old school CrossFitters, that audience that's pre-COVID, this used to be called main site workouts. But this is better than main site workouts, because what happens behind the scenes is we as an affiliate, as a business, get a very in-depth write-up of what exactly the stimulus is going to be, time domains, 0 to 60, how long a class should be, as well as everything else. And what's really cool about CAP, CrossFit Affiliate Programming, is if you have a friend in Brazil whose CrossFit gym is also doing CAP, you're doing the same exact workouts that day. And based on CrossFit, the methodology, you're doing the same standards, should be doing the same standards. You can compete against that person. You can tell them, hey, this is my score. What was your score? And before you know it, we're creating a community, not just here at Myriad Health and Fitness, but we're creating community nationally and internationally through fitness. And it's really, really, really exciting. There are going to be its issues that we're going to try to work through over time. Anna is our programming director, so she's going to be leading the way on that. And we're starting that on 10/18. So that's October 18th, which is the Monday after the 10-year party. And you'll see that trial for at least a month, and we're going to see how that goes. And then we'll play it. You guys know what I'm saying. Play it by ear from there. There you go. That's what I was trying to say. But I'm really excited to get to jump into that and see how that goes moving forward. Another thing you're going to see a little bit of, and something we're going to be talking to our coaches about next Sunday, we have our all staff quarterly meeting as well. We're going to be starting to encourage our coaches to write down scores on the whiteboard, not aggressively, but just trying to keep a little bit more accountability, keeping a little bit more measurable, a little bit more data. I don't know why I'm giving air quotes, but I am data. So we have that available, so our coaches can hold athletes a little bit more accountable. One of the things that we've found over the last 6 months or so is if you're not using SugarWOD and you're not keeping scores, then it's hard to understand when you're seeing progress. It's hard to understand if you're hitting your goals. What are your goals? What are your numbers? The whiteboard is another opportunity for us as staff to see you transparently in a class and to see what numbers you are. If I'm Coach Richie and I'm coaching you every Monday and Wednesday in a 5:30 a.m. class, and I'm writing down your scores, I'm starting to see the progress you're making, I can now hold you a little bit more accountable as a coach. And it's just going to help us as a community grow even more. And other people might find it beneficial to start to find other people who are within their fitness level that they can start competing with, maybe internally, maybe externally. Maybe they start a competition amongst the two people. Maybe, it just becomes a situation where you just beat the other person, like I do with Peter all the time across the workouts. Something of that nature may happen. Who knows? But really, ultimately, we are Myriad CrossFit. we're excited to move forward being Myriad CrossFit. But at the end of the day, Myriad CrossFit is just a program at Myriad Health and Fitness, just like Myriad Yoga, just like Myriad Bootcamp, just like Myriad Longevity, Myriad Nutrition, all the other programs we have. CrossFit is just a program. It's not its own business entity. So I know it seems like we are going heavy on that tonight, but that's one of the things we want to communicate and get across more so than anything else. And Peter, please, I meant to have you jump in where you want to jump in here if you have things to add on that front.
I just want to double down a little bit more on that last statement. It's very important to us that we continuously look at each leg of our, especially our upper level of our programs of yoga, boot camp, and CrossFit. So just doubling down on that area of that. We are aware that we're talking deeply about this, but that's where TRX came in recently, and we're trying to make sure we're giving our full focus to boot camp when it's needed and as needed. We're looking to hire that yoga coordinator, because all three of these programs, especially these three, are our staple programs. And those are the legs that we really lean on. And then we have all of our auxiliary programs that we're always focusing on as well. So internally, we are having weekly conversations about this. We have deep meetings in our leadership meetings. We follow a really awesome program to help us make sure that we're always looking and make sure that no stone is ever not unturned. So there's a lot to this, and just want you guys to really understand how much we're looking at things and paying attention to things, especially as we talk about the next subject of 3902, and just making sure that we're being focused in every area that we possibly can. Which overall, if you look at us, we're pretty small team compared to all these things that we're trying to take on. So that means almost every single person that's in our leadership team, or even as a staff member, has 2 or 3 roles within our organization. And again, overall, I just want you guys to be understanding of where we're coming from. And sometimes it might look like we're talking mostly about CrossFit, but we are definitely talking about the next steps of 3902, or talk about the next steps of yoga. Or we might be talking a lot about Swift or boot camp, excuse me, and then be talking about the next things of CrossFit. So a lot of angles, but we're always trying to look at all of them, and we have an awesome team supporting all these angles.
Right now, we'll give a couple minutes and sit in awkward silence and take that all in and take a deep breath. And if you have questions, please unmute, chime in, type in whatever it is you want to do from that standpoint. And thank you, Peter, for being the first one to say our old branding system. Ten seconds. Awesome, everybody. So moving on to a big topic. Whoops, this one again. 3902 project. Yes. So everybody, thank you first and foremost to all the Monon members. Seriously, this has been a life lesson, so to speak, for myself and Peter. And he's laughing because I know he entirely agrees on this. But this turned into much more of a project than we ever expected. And I know when we first acquired this building, the conversation was very heavy of us taking our 5255 Winthrop space next to Speakeasy, Developer Town, and just boom, plugging and playing over at 3902. But it didn't work out that way for many, many, many different reasons. And it hasn't worked out that way for many, many different reasons. And my goal right now is to share, again, some of this is gonna be challenging for me to share, but I wanna be an open book with everyone here of why we are in the place we're in, but also the positive that comes with that, because this is still happening. So back in July, and this is diving super deep because I just wanna give it to everyone. 2019, July, Peter, myself, and Michael Boaz of Boaz Construction, we got this building under contract with Midtown Indy, and essentially, during that time, we had bought it on a land contract. And with that the building itself was 17,600 square feet of space, 8,600 on the main floor, 9,000 on the lower level. And the intent right away was, as I mentioned, to just throw a gym in there. And it didn't go that way necessarily, because we realized there was too much of an opportunity with this building for the community and the neighborhood at large. to make change. And that was something that really, really sat with us right away. And with that much space, it was also important for us to find the right people to be a part of this project. Additionally, with an old building comes many problems. If anyone works in commercial real estate, which I apparently now work in commercial real estate, did not go to school for that, but something I'm now well schooled on. And we had environmental demo, vandalism, deterioration of the building, all sorts of things going on. All that's been fixed at this time. The building's free and clear environmentally, so it's a completely safe building. And as mentioned, the original intent was just throw rubber flooring down into rock and roll. During that time, over 2.5 years, we faced many challenges, as many are aware. There's been this thing called COVID, a worldwide pandemic that has changed lives drastically in so many different levels. Finances has been a huge issue with this building, and then also figuring out the business model for the building as a whole. And this is where things get really, really challenging, because we've gone through 3 different redesigns of this building, because financially in its own right, this is a commercial project that has to make sense in order for a bank to say, here's money to actually build this out. So that has been a big challenge for us. And this 3rd redesign you're going to see here in a minute is something that we're really excited about. It is what we're moving forward with, because during this 2.5 years, we've had various tenants sign letter of intents. We've had various tenants give handshake commitments and then back out, and none to their fault, completely understandable with the economic climate we have, but it has been very challenging to kind of figure out how to move this project forward. So that's why this is taking so long. It's not something that like we are purposely doing. And the last thing I'll share before I kind of jump into a lot of this is, Peter was originally a part of this project, and in his move has decided to step away from this project as well. So technically myself and Michael Boaz are the owners of this building. I know Peter's smiling right now because I have to sign one piece of paper. But that's a very challenging piece to this is, Peter and I have known each other since we were 6 years old, and now he's pulling out of this project, and now I'm doing the development side on my own with another partner. So there are a lot of dynamics at play, and that's like, I'm getting hot and uncomfortable right now saying this all, because it's not easy to share that with everyone, that like, sometimes I feel like a failure. Sometimes I feel like this isn't going to work. Sometimes I feel like, we're putting lots of money into this. My wife and I personally are putting money into this now. So there's a lot of different pieces. But at the end of the day, I'm still, every single day I wake up, I'm still beyond excited about this project, about the neighborhood, about the community, about Tarkington Park, about the partnerships we can develop, about the lives we can change. And ultimately coming back to a lot of the pieces we've talked about tonight, we can make generational change working with a lot of the students and the kids in that area, with the different programs that we can develop. And I'm just beyond excited for that opportunity. One thing that I entirely would be remiss for like not mentioning is how thankful we are for the Monon community for sticking with us. And I'm staring at members right now who we met when we took over the Monon location, who are still with us. And like, it means so much to me for you to have supported us, continue to support us. Some of you who drive 30, 40 plus minutes downtown to still be with us, like it truly like warms my heart. And I have chills saying this right now. Like, thank you for waiting for us, believing in us, committing to us. Like, this project is happening. And I want to make sure that that's known, that we are beyond thankful for each and every person in the Monon community to still be with us here. Peter, anything to add on that before I start jumping into some of the details, the fun part?
We just learned a lot, and in our first 2 iterations, I think we even shared one of the newspapers or IBJ or someone did a little bit of an article on us. Like, we've been super close to pulling the trigger multiple times, and the landscape has just changed a handful of times. And then with my move happening the way it did, my wife and I decided it was best for my personal health to back out of this. And it was super hard, because I love this project. I think it's gonna be an awesome space. And then I'm still gonna be very heavily involved because I'm still an owner with the gym, and we'll be tenants of this space. So it's kind of a good thing also, because it allows Jared and I to challenge each other on like, well, where's the tenant getting as opposed to the owner getting, especially with Michael Boaz being involved. So it allows me to wear a little bit of a different hat And I've been able to challenge us inside of some of our meetings in ways that I wasn't when I was an owner. So there's definitely some positive in that. And it was also a hard choice on my side to not continue on as an owner, but not living in that space made that ultimate decision that it was best for me to step aside from that part of the project and then focus on the Myriad side only.
Yep. And I will add that we've been talking about this heavily for the last, 2.5 years with our leadership team about whether this is the right decision to continue on with Midtown. And there's an overwhelming majority, actually an entire majority, saying 100% thumbs up. Yes, this is what we're meant to do. This is what Myriad Health and Fitness is meant to do. So that is something that it just really, really excites me as well to have our team behind us for this project. So on to the fun things. And this is where I'm going to be a little bit more loosey-goosey and let people, if you guys have questions based on the space, based on some of these drawings, let me know. They are construction drawings. So if you've ever dealt with that before, they aren't the easiest things to read in the world, but I'll do my best to kind of explain where we're going with things and what this looks like. So here's your first rendering. So this is what the front side of the building is going to look like with the storefront here. And we do have, I'm excited to share a potential coffee shop tenant in here that we're discussing and talking with right now. That would be an absolutely brilliant, amazing. I'm just ecstatic if they become a part of this project. So we'll see if we can bring that to fruition. But if it happens, I think everyone in our community is going to be blown away by it as well as in the neighborhood and Indianapolis as a whole. So that is really exciting news. Some of these garage doors might not be garage doors. Some of these windows might be garage doors. Some of the garage doors might be windows. Some of that stuff. This is an older rendering of design 2. We don't have renderings of design 3 yet, just so people are aware. This is going to be, if you've ever driven by, this is the main entrance. That entrance is still going to remain, but there's going to be a lot of section of concrete that's going to be built out here this way. In fact, some of this back here is going to be purely concrete. That way it's going to allow an opening. And right now, from design 2, this doesn't show up, but this is actually going to be a garage door right here that leads directly into the lower level, which I'll explain more here in a little bit. Over on this side, this is going to be all of your parking back here. I don't know if can you guys see my mouse cursor? Just curious. Yeah, this is going to be parking over here. This is going to be the main entrance to the building. This is going to be the main entrance to the coffee shop. So Myriad Health and Fitness members would enter in here, and then tenants of the 4,200 square feet that's leasable on the main floor, which I'll show here in a little bit, also enter through here. So this is coffee shop, and this is everyone else in that side. Again, same thing, only this is you facing, this is you in a parking lot facing south, staring at the building. This again would be, I think this is gonna be a window, and this garage door actually would be right here in the newest design, the newest drawings. But you'll see here, this is where the main entrance is gonna be to the building. So here's one of those drawings I was sharing and talking about. So this is the outdoor floor plan. So one of the things we are doing that we're trying to work with the city on. So if anyone knows the city really, really well and can get us tax abatements, TIF money, anything of that nature, please let me know, because that's what we're going to be working on next, because all of this surrounding sidewalk is going to be ripped up and redone by us. And that's something we're trying to figure out, because it's a value add to the city, how the city can help us do that. So a lot of this area here are going to be plantings and landscaping that you can see all throughout. Something I learned about is called the green factor. If you're not familiar with green factor, Google it. It's a real thing that you have to be aware of in commercial real estate, or else you don't get permits passed. And then this would be outdoor seating for that coffee shop, which we're really, really excited about. And then actually up here, there won't be too much outdoor seating for the coffee shop. It's going to be more outdoor gym space for us, that we can do warm-ups, go outside, be on the north end of that building, which we're really excited about right there. And again, your parking lot would be up here in this area, and then that concrete sidewalk would all be up through here. So there's a potential for us to run farmers markets, different community events, have different vendors available on site on Saturdays, Sundays, whatever the case may be. It's gonna be a lot of outdoor space to be used, which is really, really exciting, with that park being right across the street. Then we have the parking lot that's here, just to kind of give you guys a full view. This is where you can pull in and come around. There is 43 parking spaces available in this area, which is a lot of parking. And then you can come right out this way, also parking here. You'll notice an island is going to be being put in the middle, and there's going to be a little bit of a landscaping island here as well. And then some landscaping that's going to go back towards the alleyway to protect cars from cutting into the parking lot in that direction. This is the Myriad space. So this is something that we've shared, I believe on a previous call, we've been sharing with people. However, it hasn't been like officially announced yet. So what's happening is in order for this building to make sense financially and get banks to support this, Myriad Health and Fitness is moving into the lower level of this project. And so what that does is gives us all 9,000 square feet of the lower level to utilize in different ways. So this is the north end of the building is up here, and this is the main entrance up at the top here. So this is a stairwell that's going to be, it's called a monumental stairwell. You can see it kind of gets bigger in this area. And this is a stairwell that's going to take you directly upstairs out into a garage door that's going to take you directly outside. So running workouts are still going to be available to you via the lower level here in this basement. The ceiling height is 10 feet in most areas in the basement. The only two movements we're going to be challenged by are full 10-foot wall balls as well as bar muscle ups. Other than that, we'll be able to pretty much do every functional fitness movement we're able to do. And then also with that, if we have to change the model of the programming a little bit at this space, that's completely accessible and completely fine as well for us to do. Your entrance is going to come through at the top, and you'll see here in a second as I click to the other space, but you'll walk all the way down through here, and there's going to be an elevator that you can come down, and this is all showing the lower level, and there's stairs here as well that you can come down, and there's going to be a small little open area for a lounge, as well as a kitchen space here, and then this would be the front desk here in this space, a couple consultation rooms. And then the flow is you walk down or take the elevator down, find yourself in this area, and then you can walk into 6 gender neutral bathrooms. And you'll see there's 4 gender neutral showers, 1, 2, 3, 4 here as well. And currently right now, this is a glazed block wall. That's really, really cool that historically has been with the building since it was built that we're keeping as well. Then you can walk this way, find yourself into Myriad Yoga. So we'll have a Myriad Yoga room here in the basement. And then all of this space here, as well as up here, is going to be for our fitness programming, and exactly what that looks like yet, we don't know, but we're really excited to have that much space and that much opportunity for that.
Jared, I just want to add on a few layers to that decision. When we first were presenting with the building, the basement actually made the most sense. And then we thought, oh, that didn't really make sense to us just because we never really have gone down that. But since then, we've done tons of research. We've talked to gym owners. We've looked at pictures of gyms worldwide actually that are in basements, talking about the floor. It was going to be a big impact of dropping barbells on the upstairs floor and impacting the rest of the building as well. So just after 2 years of going through this in every angle, this was a decision that was difficult, but ultimately after the research we've done, we know it's the best decision, and it's going to present us the most opportunity to use, as Jared's mentioned, multiple thousands extra square feet than we would have had upstairs, which was ultimately something that we were always challenged on from when we were over at Monon. And who could ever forget the 2 levels at Monon and that challenge we had of coaching. So I'm really pumped about it. Our staff is really pumped about it. It's going to make coaching, it's going to make the accessibility of doing more, a lot more accessible. So just wanted to add that.
Also, I want to make everyone aware, I know it's 5:58 right now, so if you have to drop off at 6, please do so. We are recording this, so you can, we'll be sharing this via newsletter at some point. So if you need to drop off, please do. I don't want to just stop at 6 because I want to get through the content because I think it's important for everyone. So if you need to go, and that includes any of our staff members as well, feel free to drop off. This is the main floor. So as we talked about, this is the entrance up here. In that position, and that's a canopy. So what you do is you'd enter, this would be a vestibule, and then this is going to be kind of a common area maintenance, a lobby for our members from Myriad Health and Fitness on the main floor. And then this would be an open tenant space that we have right now. We are currently in talks with a marketing company for all 4,200 square feet, but this is where I wanted to pitch our community right now. If you know people, if you own a business, if you want to move into this building with us and a potential coffee shop, this is technically available right now. You can Google 3902 North Illinois on LoopNet to find out more information, or just email me directly and we can go from there. So this is something we're excited about. It's going to be an open space from there. We'll be building out these gender neutral bathrooms here as well. So there'll be 4 of those with a shared sink. And then this is that lobby I was talking about. And then the elevator that you can take down, stairs you can take down. And then this is going to be an open space that's going to bring sunlight. This is something I really want to hit. There's going to be natural light making its way into the lower level. And then same thing up here as well. You'll see this is going to be, so this is the main entrance up here. And then this is going to be the area. We're not going to necessarily, we're going to teach our members not to use this as an entrance. It's going to be more so of an exit and an in and out for our classes, for our running workouts, for our warm-ups, for, if we're doing a workout outside entirely, this is going to be the area we're going to use to do that. So this is going to be a garage door. That's going to be a glass garage door that when you open it up, it's going to be fresh air, bright sunlight coming straight down to the lower level to give even more natural light to the lower level in that space, which we're really excited about. And that was one of our big solutions, again, coming back to a lot of challenges we had with this project. So we're really excited. And then this is going to be an open little area that I'm just going to share is going to have a little surprise to it, hopefully, after everything's done. And we'll see if it actually comes to fruition. But think 24-foot rope climb, whether it actually happens or not, who knows, but something fun. This is the main entrance into the coffee shop, and I'll click over here because this is all technically available as well. Unfortunately, our previous coffee tenant that we had on the books for 9 months, that literally they put their pen on paper, there was an ink drop, but it wasn't officially signed. That's how close we were. Unfortunately backed out on us 3 weeks ago that they no longer are going to be stepping into this space. But with that, we may have some serendipity take place in which we're talking to another potential coffee shop that I think would actually fit this building and our community even better, which I'm excited about. So, but with that being said, if you know somebody who wants to run a coffee shop, or if you want to run a coffee shop, let me know and we can figure something out and get you in there. A couple other quick things I wanted to say. Quarter 2, 2022, so probably more towards the back end of quarter 2 is where we're looking. So you're probably looking at if I'm doing math correctly, June, July would be a good timeline that we're shooting for. My understanding is this should be about a 6 to 7 month project once we kick things off. We're literally working with a bank this coming week, starting tomorrow morning, to get all that kind of figured out. We're getting our final third design construction documents tomorrow as well, which then they all go out to bid. Once we have that bid, we can rock and roll and swing hammers. Technically, we already have all the permits. We can technically swing hammers right now. So like this project is like, I don't know if you would say on the 1 yard line, is probably on like the 4-inch line, 3-inch line to get over to for a touchdown. Does that analogy work, everybody? Yes. I feel like I don't know sports right now. Questions, feel free, chime in. Peter, say whatever you need to say. I'm just running through my notes right now, making sure I hit everything. All right, I think we are ready to hop into fun parts. Not that everything wasn't fun. Everything was really fun. Kimberly, go for it. I'm putting myself on mute. Tell us everything we need to know.
Will do. Next slide, please. We will start with Member Appreciation Week. So this is something that we do every year just as a thank you to those, that show up and support us and make the community as special as it is. So we will do this leading up to the 10-year party taking place starting not tomorrow, but the next Monday, October 11th, and we'll conclude with the party on the 16th. This year, instead of doing a week of programming around Member Appreciation Week, we will actually be doing Member Appreciation Week bingo. So we'll have a number of different fun things set up for you all to take advantage of throughout the week. You can pick up a bingo card in any of our spaces starting on Monday, the 11th. And anyone that completes a bingo and turns their card back in will be eligible to win one of 10 prizes. And the prizes are pretty great, if I do say so myself. So things like free fall retail items, experiences here locally, just fun little things to take advantage of. So do keep an eye on next weekend's newsletter. We'll have all of the details on that for you. We will also have a couple of themed days. So something that was big, especially in our Monon location culture for a while, was Groutfit Wednesdays. It's where you wear all gray and sweat as much as you can and just enjoy how gross that is. So we are having an official Groutfit Wednesday on Wednesday the 13th. On Thursday the 14th, we will be doing a Myriad /Naptown /Practice Indy, wear some gear, Spirit Day. We might have a prize for the most throwback item that shows up. And then on Saturday, the 16th, we do have the 10-year party, but then we also have a community day. So in the morning, to allow us some space and flexibility in setting up for the party, we are hosting move classes that are free for you to bring friends and family to. And then we'll also have a yoga class at 11 a.m. taking place in the boot camp building so that we can up that capacity a little bit as well. That is Member Appreciation Week. Next slide, please. The 10th anniversary party. So the deadline to RSVP is this Friday, the 8th, at the end of the day. We have to do guarantees for our food and catering, all that stuff. So we do need everyone to RSVP in advance so that we can make sure we have plenty of stuff. Cocktail attire for the event. Gym shoes are certainly welcome. You don't have to wear them, but ultimately just feel good, look good, do what you need to do to be comfortable and enjoy the event. We will have apps, beer, wine, non-alcoholic beverages, DJ, games, and then just from a timing standpoint, things to note, doors will open at 7:30 and remarks from Peter and Jared will take place at 8:30. Other than that, we'll be having fun until about midnight, and that will be the 10-year party. Next slide. I think we've just got a couple of reminders and resources for you all as members. The weekly newsletter on Sundays really is your best resource for all things Myriad and all current things Myriad. I would highly suggest that you do read that each week. If you have unsubscribed in the past or you're not getting this newsletter, feel free to shoot us an email at info@myriadfit.com and I can get you hooked up with the form that you'll need to fill out to get re-enrolled in that. If you've unsubscribed yourself in the past, we cannot add you back like legally. So there's a little form that you have to opt back into. Info@myriadfit.com. That is your other best resource. If you've got questions about your membership, about billing, things like that, that's your go-to. Just emailing that info address will get you to the right person. So don't stress about worrying who to reach out to for each of the things. Info@MyriadFit is always a great place to start. We did start doing some new member orientations, trying to get our newer members connected and give them some additional resources and things that we may not have covered in their free consult because there's a lot of information. So current members are welcome to attend that as well, just for a refresher and to reach out to some of our newer members to get to know them. So just know that those do take place on Saturday mornings here and there on the schedule. So just take a look. And if you would like to attend, we'd love to have you. Last thing, just want to mention our on-site partners. We've got MyoFit and Sprout Wellness within the walls of our building. So certainly great things to take advantage of. You might see some things popping up from them with Member Appreciation Week as well. So want to give them both a shout out. And I believe that is the end of my reminders. Jared, I think it's back to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kimberly. A lot happening. Looking forward to it. We want to say thank you. I definitely let Peter kind of say a few things here, but I do want to throw out the fact that like we are so excited for what we have going on, what we have coming up. We're really excited about 2022. Not to throw out a huge cliffhanger, but we have even more awesome news on the horizon as well that we're going to be sharing at some point. And I'll just kind of leave that there. But thank you all for being a part of our community. And Peter, feel free to share what you want to share, and then we'll sign off. And if anyone has questions, type them in or come off mute, and we'll help out there.
I want to close on one of our internal flags that we've been flying for a long time is that we feel and we believe we are one of the best fitness facilities in the entire Midwest. It's something that we strive towards all the time. And it's something that we're very heavily through all the things that Jared and the team just talked about, leaning into going back into 2022. We want to fly that moniker of being the most recognized and best facility that we can offer health and fitness and wellness in every front for so many people. So we're looking at that. We're kind of looking back at some of the areas that maybe we fell off a little bit, so we can really go back to those. And we're just pumped. I mean, we're so optimistic and excited and anxious and all the positive adjectives that are out there right now. I think we're going to have a big year coming up. So we're excited to give that to you guys and to continue to give you guys the best space for fitness, wellness, and health in the Midwest and beyond.
Awesome, everybody. Thank you all. I'll hang out for a few minutes, and I'm going to stop sharing that and then also stop the recording.